The rise of Vlad Tepes Targoviste 146 to a turning point in Ottoman history. The year 1462 stands as a pivotal moment in the annals of European and Ottoman history, marked by the clash between two formidable forces, Vlad III, known as Vlad Tepes or Vlad the Impaler, and Sultan Mehmed II, the conqueror of Constantinople. This confrontation, centered around the city of Targoviste, was not merely a military skirmish but a dramatic episode that shaped the geopolitical landscape of southeastern Europe for centuries to come. Vlad Tepes, the ruler of Wallachia, emerged as a symbol of resistance against the expanding Ottoman Empire, while Mehmed II sought to consolidate his dominance over the Balkans. The events of 1462 are not only a testament to the resilience of a small principality against an empire but also a reflection of the cultural, political, and military dynamics of the time. This documentary-style exploration delves into the rise of Vlad Tepes, the significance of Targoviste as the epicenter of his defiance, and the broader implications of this conflict within the context of Ottoman history. By examining the intricate interplay of power, strategy, and ideology, we uncover how Vlad's leadership, though controversial and brutal, left an indelible mark on the region's history. His legacy, often overshadowed by myth and legend, remains a subject of fascination and debate among historians, scholars, and enthusiasts alike. Through this narrative, we aim to shed light on the historical realities behind the figure of Vlad Tepes and the enduring impact of his stand against the Ottomans in 1462. The historical context, Wallachia and the Ottoman Empire. To fully understand the significance of Vlad Tepes' rise and his confrontation with the Ottomans in 1462, it is essential to examine the historical backdrop of Wallachia and its complex relationship with the burgeoning Ottoman Empire. Wallachia, a principality located in present-day Romania, emerged as a distinct political entity in the late 13th century. Situated at the crossroads of Eastern and Western Europe, it became a strategic buffer zone between the Christian kingdoms of Hungary and Poland to the north, and the expanding Islamic territories of the Ottoman Empire to the south. Its geographic position made it both a coveted prize and a vulnerable target throughout its history. The early rulers of Wallachia, known as voivodes, navigated a precarious balance between maintaining their autonomy and appeasing more powerful neighbors. Internal politics were often tumultuous, characterized by factionalism, succession disputes, and the influence of external powers. By the mid-15th century, Wallachia had established a semi-independent status under suzerainty agreements with the Kingdom of Hungary, which sought to use the principality as a bulwark against Ottoman expansion. However, the growing might of the Ottomans posed an existential threat, as they systematically absorbed neighboring territories such as Serbia and Bulgaria, leaving Wallachia increasingly isolated. The Ottoman Empire, under Sultan Mehmed II, was at the height of its power during this period. Having conquered Constantinople in 1453, Mehmed II earned the title the Conqueror and set his sights on consolidating control over the Balkans. The Ottomans employed a combination of military conquest and diplomatic maneuvering to extend their influence, often demanding tribute and vassalage from smaller states like Wallachia. These demands placed immense pressure on Wallachian rulers, who were caught between resisting Ottoman hegemony and avoiding outright war. It was within this volatile environment that Vlad Tepes ascended to power, inheriting a principality teetering on the brink of subjugation. The socio-political climate of Wallachia during Vlad's reign was further complicated by internal divisions. The boyars, or noble elite, wielded significant influence and often undermined the authority of the voivodes. Their loyalty was frequently swayed by personal interests and alliances with foreign powers, including the Ottomans. Additionally, the peasantry endured harsh conditions, burdened by taxation and conscription to support the constant military campaigns. Against this backdrop, Vlad Tepes would emerge as a leader determined to assert his authority, reform his domain, and resist the encroaching Ottoman tide. His rise to power was not merely a matter of dynastic succession but a response to the urgent need for strong leadership in a time of crisis. Vlad Tepes, the man behind the legend, Vlad III, later immortalized as Vlad Tepes or Vlad the Impaler, was born in 1431 in the Transylvanian town of Siușoara, then part of the Kingdom of Hungary. He was the second son of Vlad Tepes Targoviste, a Wallachian nobleman who earned the nickname Dracul, meaning dragon in Romanian due to his membership in the Order of the Dragon, a chivalric order dedicated to defending Christianity against the Ottoman threat. From a young age, Vlad was groomed for leadership, but his path to power was fraught with challenges and adversity that would shape his character and governance style. In 1442, Vlad and his younger brother Radu were taken hostage by Sultan Murad II as a guarantee of their father's loyalty. This period of captivity, lasting several years, had a profound impact on Vlad's worldview. While Radu reportedly adapted to Ottoman culture and even converted to Islam, Vlad remained fiercely defiant, harboring a deep-seated resentment toward his captors. The experience instilled in him a resolve to resist Ottoman domination at all costs, as well as a keen understanding of their military strategies and administrative methods, knowledge he would later exploit to his advantage. Upon returning to Wallachia, Vlad found himself embroiled in a power struggle following the assassination of his father and elder brother Mircea in 1447. Backed by Hungarian forces, Vlad briefly seized the throne in 1448 but was quickly ousted by rival factions aligned with the Ottomans. This early setback did not deter him. Instead, it hardened his determination to reclaim his birthright. After years of exile and plotting, Vlad finally secured the throne in 1456, marking the beginning of his most infamous reign. As a leader, Vlad Tepes was both admired and feared. His governance style was uncompromising, characterized by a ruthless commitment to law and order. He implemented sweeping reforms aimed at centralizing power, reducing corruption, and strengthening Wallachia's defenses. To achieve these goals, he adopted a zero-tolerance policy toward dissent, punishing transgressions with brutal efficiency. His signature method of execution, impaling, became a chilling symbol of his authority, striking fear into enemies and subjects alike. Yet, beyond the violence, Vlad's policies demonstrated a pragmatic vision for Wallachia. He sought to curb the influence of the boyars, redistribute land to loyal supporters, and fortify key settlements against Ottoman incursions. Vlad's personality was a paradoxical blend of pragmatism and idealism. On one hand, he was a calculating strategist who understood the importance of alliances and propaganda. On the other, he was driven by a fierce sense of justice and a desire to protect his people from external threats. His motivations were deeply rooted in his experiences as a hostage and his belief in Wallachian independence. For Vlad, resistance to the Ottomans was not just a political necessity but a moral imperative, a fight for survival and sovereignty. Despite his controversial methods, Vlad's leadership left a lasting impression on Wallachia. His reign represented a rare moment of centralized authority in a fragmented society, and his efforts to modernize the state laid the groundwork for future developments. However, his uncompromising stance also alienated many, including some of his own nobles, whose betrayal would ultimately contribute to his downfall. Nonetheless, Vlad Tepes remains a polarizing yet pivotal figure in history, an enigmatic leader whose actions continue to inspire admiration, revulsion, and debate. The Siege of Targoviste, a strategic masterpiece. The Siege of Targoviste in 1462 stands as one of the most dramatic episodes in Vlad Tepes' campaign against the Ottoman Empire. As Sultan Mehmed II led a massive army of approximately 100,000 troops into Wallachia, Vlad recognized that direct confrontation would be suicidal given the disparity in numbers. Instead, he devised a bold and unconventional strategy designed to exploit the weaknesses of the Ottoman forces while leveraging the rugged terrain of his homeland. What followed was a masterclass in guerrilla warfare and psychological warfare, showcasing Vlad's ingenuity and determination. When the Ottoman army crossed the Danube River into Wallachian territory, they encountered an eerie absence of resistance. Vlad had ordered a scorched earth policy, instructing his forces to destroy crops, poison water supplies, and evacuate villages along the invasion route. This tactic left the advancing Ottomans struggling to sustain their vast army, which relied heavily on local resources for provisions. Hunger and disease began to take their toll, sapping the morale and effectiveness of the invaders. Meanwhile, Vlad's forces launched hit-and-run attacks from concealed positions, targeting supply lines and isolated units. These ambushes inflicted significant casualties and further disrupted the Ottoman advance. The culmination of Vlad's strategy came when the Ottomans reached Targoviste, the capital of Wallachia. In preparation for their arrival, Vlad orchestrated a macabre spectacle intended to terrify the enemy. Just outside the city walls, he arranged thousands of Turkish prisoners of war and deserters to be impaled on stakes, creating what has since been referred to as the Forest of the Impaled. The gruesome display served a dual purpose. It demonstrated Vlad's ruthlessness and instilled panic among the Ottoman ranks. When Mehmed II and his soldiers arrived, they were greeted by this horrifying scene, which shattered their confidence and underscored the futility of continuing the campaign. Recognizing the untenable situation, Mehmed II made the pragmatic decision to withdraw his forces. Though the Ottomans had achieved some territorial gains, their primary objective, the capture of Vlad and the subjugation of Wallachia, remained unfulfilled. Vlad's tactics had successfully neutralized the numerical superiority of the Ottomans, forcing them to abandon their plans without engaging in a decisive battle. The Siege of Targoviste thus exemplifies the triumph of strategy and resolve over brute force, cementing Vlad Tepes' reputation as a cunning and formidable adversary. The aftermath, immediate and long-term consequences. The aftermath of the Siege of Targoviste in 1462 reverberated across Wallachia, the Ottoman Empire, and the broader European political landscape, leaving a legacy that extended far beyond the immediate cessation of hostilities. For Wallachia, the repulsion of the Ottoman invasion was a remarkable achievement, but it came at a steep cost. The scorched earth tactics employed by Vlad Tepes had devastated vast swathes of the countryside, leaving the population grappling with food shortages and economic hardship. While Vlad's leadership had successfully thwarted Mehmed II's ambitions, his methods alienated many within his own realm. The Boers, already resentful of his centralization efforts and harsh punishments, grew increasingly hostile, viewing him as a tyrant whose rule prioritized survival over prosperity. This internal discontent would later play a critical role in undermining his authority. For the Ottoman Empire, the failure to subjugate Wallachia was a rare setback in an otherwise triumphant era of expansion under Mehmed II. Although the retreat from Targoviste did not diminish the empire's overall dominance in the Balkans, it highlighted the resilience of smaller states when led by capable and determined rulers. The psychological impact of Vlad's Forest of the Impaled lingered among Ottoman commanders and soldiers, reinforcing the perception of Wallachia as a difficult and costly theater of operations. In the years that followed, the Ottomans shifted their focus to consolidating their hold over recently acquired territories rather than pursuing further incursions into Wallachia. This temporary withdrawal allowed Wallachia to retain a degree of autonomy, albeit under continued Ottoman suzerainty. On the broader European stage, Vlad Tepes' stand against the Ottomans resonated as a symbol of Christian resistance to Islamic expansion. News of his victory spread quickly, earning him admiration in regions threatened by Ottoman advances. Pope Pius II, who had previously called for a united Christian front against the Turks, hailed Vlad as a champion of Christendom. Similarly, European monarchs and chroniclers celebrated his exploits, casting him as a heroic defender of Western civilization. However, this acclaim was tempered by accounts of his brutal methods, which painted a more complex picture of his leadership. Over time, Vlad's image evolved into a blend of admiration and revulsion, reflecting the ambivalence with which history has viewed his legacy. The long-term consequences of the 1462 campaign were equally profound. For Wallachia, the conflict underscored the precariousness of its position between two great powers, the Ottoman Empire and the Kingdom of Hungary. Vlad's eventual downfall, brought about by a coalition of disaffected boyars and Ottoman-backed rivals, demonstrated the difficulty of maintaining independence in such a volatile environment. Nevertheless, his resistance delayed Ottoman consolidation in the region, buying valuable time for other European states to prepare for future conflicts. The memory of Vlad Tepes' defiance persisted in folklore and literature, influencing narratives of national identity in Romania and beyond. For the Ottoman Empire, the events of 1462 reinforced the need for adaptability in dealing with resistant vassal states. While the empire continued to expand elsewhere, the experience taught its leaders the importance of patience and diplomacy in managing frontier regions. Ultimately, the Siege of Targoviste serves as a testament to the enduring impact of individual leadership and strategic innovation in shaping the course of history. Legacy and modern interpretations, Vlad Tepes in historical memory. The legacy of Vlad Tepes extends far beyond the borders of 15th century Wallachia, permeating historical scholarship, popular culture, and national identity. Historians have long debated the complexities of his reign, oscillating between portraying him as a ruthless despot and a visionary leader. His methods, particularly the infamous practice of impalement, have sparked intense discussions about the ethics of his governance and the extent to which his brutality was justified by the exigencies of his time. Some scholars argue that Vlad's harsh measures were necessary to maintain order in a fractured society and to resist Ottoman domination, while others contend that his penchant for cruelty exceeded the bounds of rational statecraft. This duality has made Vlad Tepes a subject of fascination and controversy, ensuring his place in academic discourse as a figure who defies easy categorization. In popular culture, Vlad Tepes has become synonymous with the fictional character of Count Dracula, thanks largely to Bram Stoker's 1897 novel Dracula. While Stoker's vampire bears little resemblance to the historical Vlad, the association has cemented his image as a dark and enigmatic figure. Films, television series, and literary works have perpetuated this mythologized version of Vlad, blending fact and fiction to create a cultural archetype that continues to captivate audiences worldwide. This transformation from historical ruler to Gothic icon underscores the enduring power of storytelling and its ability to reshape historical memory. Within Romania, Vlad Tepes occupies a unique position in national consciousness. For many, he is a symbol of resistance against foreign domination and a champion of Romanian unity. His defense of Wallachia against the Ottomans is celebrated as an early assertion of national sovereignty, and his reforms are seen as precursors to modern state-building efforts. Statues, monuments, and cultural festivals honor his contributions, reflecting a collective pride in his legacy. At the same time, debates persist about how to reconcile his achievements with the darker aspects of his rule, illustrating the ongoing tension between historical reverence and critical reassessment. Ultimately, Vlad Tepes' legacy is a testament to the enduring interplay between history, myth, and identity, whether viewed as a hero, a villain, or something in between. His story continues to resonate, challenging us to grapple with the complexities of power, morality, and human nature.